Welcome to another episode of Who Done It and Why. But before I start today, I wanted to give some useful information. And I'm actually 11 days late, but Planet Fitness has a program for high school children where they are able, if they're the age of 19, 14 through 19, they're able to work out free at any Planet Fitness, and they have 2,900 plus participating locations throughout the United States and Canada. And your team can register today at this link right here, planetfitness.com/summerpass to gain club access beginning June 1st through August 31st. And then, or you can go in person because I've seen kids coming there and actually doing it in person. And that's something for the children to do. I know that is one of the things that is said. The children don't have nowhere to go. But also, too, if your child is going, make sure they know proper stretching and to not let their friends, if they go with friends, pressure them into using heavy weights to feel good. That is very dangerous. But other than that, now we can get started to the video. Price of Fame NFL. Wait, I'm with the NFL disclaimer. Did I even make a disclaimer yet? I don't have one, but disclaimer. I was about to say something. Anyways, here it goes. I did write one. This video is not anti-football, anti-athlete, anti-success. This is about the human being behind the helmet. It is about the kid with talent, the family with expectations, the coach with incentives, the school system that may pass athletes without preparing them, the industry that can love a player loudly until his body, behavior, or market value no longer serves the machine. Because the dream is real, the talent is real, the money can be real, but the price is real too. And for me, what inspired me to make this video is I was looking at the different jobs that have a lot of injuries for people who work it overtime, like offshore, construction, things like that. And NFL was actually one of the categories. And I never really seen people mention that. And I noticed that people with NFL goals, they don't really plan for the dark side of it. So this is just giving you awareness of what you up against. It's not saying that that will be your story, but you know the possibilities based off of previous people, because precedence plays a huge part in a lot of situations. The chapter 1, the dream starts before the plan does. When I was growing up, I wanted to play soccer. I loved kicking, running, moving, competing, but because of my grass allergy, sports never became my path. Thankfully, my intellect was always my primary plan anyway. But in the neighborhood, most of the kids around me were chasing basketball or football. Some of them were gifted. Some of them could move like they had cheat codes in their legs. But while their athletic ability was being fed, their education was starving. And that is where the trap starts, because a lot of boys do not get told you are a full human being. They get told you can play. They do not get asked, can you read a contract? They get asked, can you run a route? They do not get asked, can you manage money? They get asked, can you score? They do not get asked, who are you without the crowd? They get asked, can you win Friday night? And when a child's whole identity becomes the sport can become both a blessing and a leash. The NCAA estimated that only 3.3% of draft eligible Division I football players were selected in the 2025 draft for the NFL. With 257 players drafted out of 7,764 draft eligible Division I athletes, even among FBS players, the estimate was only 5.7. So the dream is possible, but the math is brutal. That means for every athlete who makes it, there are thousands who built their entire personality around the door that never opened. And if football was the only plan, what happens when football says no? The school to stadium pipeline. In high school, everyone knew athletes got passed. It was an open secret. The team needed the roster, so the grades had to cooperate. And let's not act like this only happens in one city or state. This is a pattern. When a child has athletic value, adults sometimes protect the talent more than they protect the child's future. That is not love, that is extraction. Because if you push a young man through school without requiring him to learn, you are not helping him. You are handing him a trophy with no tools. A diploma without literacy is not preparation. A college scholarship without life skills is not protection. A contract without understanding is not wealth, it's actually robbery. That is how you get grown men with degrees who still can't properly read what they're signing. That is how you get athletes who can memorize a playbook but cannot decode the legal language that controls their money, image, and future. And this is why life skills matter. Reading matters, financial literacy matters. And if you watch this channel, you're going to end up with financial literacy. Emotional regulation matters. If you watch this channel, you'll be inspired and have the resources available to develop your emotional regulation. Cooking matters, basic health knowledge matters, knowing how taxes work matters. And taxes vary state to state, so that's very important because some states like Texas and Florida have zero state taxes, and then other states like Louisiana have robbery taxes. Knowing when to say no matters. Knowing when to call a lawyer matters, because the world does not care how fast you ran in high school when the contract is in front of you. Chapter 3, fame does not equal stability. A lot of people think making it to the NFL means you're rich forever. That is not automatically true. Your NFL money can be life-changing. The 2025 rookie minimum salary was listed as $840,000, and the 2026 rookie minimum rises to $885,000. But that is for players who are actually on an active roster for the season. Practice squad pay is much lower. For 2025, over the cap lists standard practice squad salary at $13,000 per week or $234,000 over an 18-week season. And that's not including taxes. That's not including the manager, the agents, if you have any people working for you, if you have family that was waiting for you to blow up, even though they had their whole life to get their stuff together. Aside for people who disable, it's amazing how many of these families, mine included, can sit on their ass having kids and being in mess and drama and all of this other stuff and playing victim to everything. But when the golden child gets to go, all of a sudden you're supposed to take care of stuff that they neglected anyways. Back to the story. That is still more than many people make, but it is not private island forever money, especially after taxes, agent fees, training expenses, family pressure, child support, bad investments, lawsuits, spending, and the short window of a football career. The estimated average NFL salary gets thrown around like everyone is a franchise quarterback. One 2025 estimate calculated a rough average of about 5.2 million by dividing the league salary cap spending by the number of active roster spots. But even that source notes the average is skewed because many players make far less than the stars of the team. That is the danger of averages. If one quarterback makes 60 million and another player is fighting for a roster spot, the average can make the whole league look richer than the typical player's actual experience. That's just like if your CEO make 20 million, but you make 30,000 a year. So on paper, your company average salary going to be 100 or 200,000 because of that person making all of that money. And you know good and well you're not making that much. Some players become household names. Some become millionaires. Some get drafted, cut, re-signed, waived, placed on the practice squad, moved around, injured, forgotten, and replaced. And many are famous only to hardcore fans. There are NFL players with barely any public fame, limited endorsement money, and careers that end before their bodies even finish healing from the attempt. So when people say, he made the league, he should be good, I always ask, good for how long? After taxes, after injury, after divorce, family request, bad contract, good after the body breaks down, after the applause stop? Chapter 4, the blessing can become a burden. One of the biggest mistakes young athletes make is giving away the blessing before they stabilize it. The first big check hits and suddenly everyone remembers your name. People who did not believe in you start screaming your praises. People who laughed at your dream now want a seat at the table. People who never invested in your discipline now want to access your reward. And some of them will say, I was there from the beginning. But being nearby is not the same as being supportive. That's why you have to really, throughout life, no matter who you are, like if you can make $1 an hour, you have to watch who you have in your proximity, because if you're not clear of this person's intentions and you don't get genuine love and support and protection from them, especially if that's what you're providing, those people are waiting on something. And a lot of them, since people are so chatty these days, I talk in videos, but I'm quiet in person, allegedly. But people will fill your brain with all kinds of things just to keep you distracted, and you don't really ever look at what they're here for. Or some people even will try to make you feel a way about other people around you while they're the ones who are actually there for nefarious reasons. Some family and friends genuinely love the athlete, but the love does not mean they're financially wise. Love does not mean they understand wealth. Love does not mean they should manage anything. Love does not mean they get unlimited access to money that took years of sacrifice, pain, and risk to earn. A young athlete has to understand this. You do not owe everyone a lifestyle because you made it. You do not owe grown adults your financial future because they struggle. You do not owe your cousins, friends, old teammates, or romantic partners the money you have not even stabilized yet. Help people from a plan, not from guilt. And tell them call 211. 211 is right there. I don't understand why these people be on the internet crying, saying that they ask people. They never say they call 211. 211. It's a toll-free number. Anywhere in America, you can call it. Get help. Give after structure, not from pressure. Bless people after you build the foundation, not while you're still standing on wet cement. And a sacrifice could never be a blessing. Blessing is when a person is able to do that and they go on about their way. If given to somebody is something that's going to hurt you in the present or the future, that is sacrifice. That is not you blessing. Like they whoever they worship needs to bless them. Because if you hand out your money before you understand your money, you're not being generous. You're being empty. I did it in my 20s, so you don't have to. Don't do it. There's no good outcome from that. If anything, is nothing but resentment that comes from that. Because whenever you have your moments where you need genuine support, people who are using you are not able to give that. Many of them don't even have emotional capacity to even understand. All they know is the cliche statements like that's crazy, or I'm sorry to hear that, or some of them even change the subject thinking that they're trying to cheer you up, but they're really minimizing your feelings. Chapter 5. The people around you can become the trap. A lot of athletes try to take everyone with them: childhood friends, cousins, people from the neighborhood, girlfriend, the side girlfriend, the manager who has never managed anything, the uncle with business ideas, the homeboy who thinks loyalty means access. But everyone cannot go. Some people are not happy for you, they are happy near you. Some people do not want you to win, they want to benefit from your win. Some people see you as a person, others see you as a walking invoice. And then there are people who love the dream but cannot handle the disappointment. If the career does not take off, they disappear. If you get cut, they stop calling. If you get injured, they treat you like an expired product. That is why peace matters. You need to know who you are before the league, during the league, and after the league. Because if your whole value depends on being wanted by a team, you are emotionally living on a waiver wire. Chapter 6. Talent without life skills is a dangerous combination. The athlete is often trained for performance, not adulthood. They know how to lift, run, watch film, handle pain, but who teaches them how to read legal documents, understand taxes, build credit, avoid predatory investments, choose trustworthy professionals, cook healthy meals, manage sexual discipline? Manage sexual discipline. I had to say that twice. Heal trauma, communicate in marriage, recognize addiction, handle public criticism, say no without guilt. Because fame does not create character. Money does not create maturity. A contract does not create wisdom. A jersey does not create emotional regulation. If someone was reckless before fame, fame gives the recklessness a bigger budget. If someone was unhealed before fame, fame gives the wound a microphone. If someone was financially illiterate before fame, fame gives the ignorance more zeros. And that is where a lot of people crash. Look at the giraffe in the clouds. Older players are not always mentors. Age and fame do not always equal wisdom, maturity, or guidance. And that's for people who thinking because older people are around them, always in their ear, always giving unnecessary advice. And this is for anyone outside of prospective NFL players. Those people, you have to look at their current state. The best they could do is tell you how their actions got them to where they were, and you dissect that and do with that as you will. But them trying to tell you how to achieve things that they've never achieved themselves, that they probably still have the chance to, one ear out the other. I'll have headphones on so it never go in any ear. The body pays the bill. The NFL is not just a job. It is controlled violence with branding, fancy Sunday entertainment. Players live Monday pain. The league reported that concussions decreased in the 2024 season, with the NFL saying concussions were down 17% compared with the previous season and at the lowest level since tracking began in 2015. That is progress, but a decrease does not mean danger disappeared. CTE is one of the most serious long-term concerns. The Mayo Clinic explains that CTE is linked to repeated head injuries, gets worse over time, and can only be definitively diagnosed after death through brain examination. Yikes. Boston University CTE Center reported in 2023 that researchers had diagnosed CTE in 345 out of 376 former players studied. That's 91.7%. That does not mean 91.7% of all NFL players have CTE, because donated brain studies can have selection bias, but it is still a frightening signal about repeated head impacts and long-term brain health. And it is not only the brain, knees, hips, backs, shoulders, hands, sleep, mood, memory, pain medication, identity loss, depression, anxiety. The body becomes the receipt. And sometimes the bill comes due after the crowd has moved on. Mental health, crime, and public meltdowns. We have to talk about the human side without turning every athlete into a stereotype. Most NFL players are not criminals. Most NFL players are not criminals. I had to repeat that. A 2015 study found the general population had higher arrest rates than NFL players for property crimes and public order crimes. But NFL players had higher violent crime arrest rates in 6 of the 14 years studied than regular people. Yikes. Another report on the same research said the study examined 774 arrests among 573 NFL players, with 209 arrests or 27% involving violent crimes. So this is not about saying NFL players are bad. If that's what you took from this, this is the wrong video for you. I am not able to get people up to an emotional and intellectual level to be able to listen to information and absorb it before regurgitating it back out, versus people hearing information and immediately feeling negatively about what they're hearing and immediately going into the defense mode with either cliche statements, indirect insults, direct insults, or just completely off the topic things. This is about saying that fame, money, pain, trauma, entitlement, substance abuse, untreated mental health issues, and poor accountability can become combustible. And when a man has been praised for performance since childhood, he may have never been corrected as a person. That shows up in marriages, with fans, in domestic situations, in reckless spending, in addiction, in being on the down low. I just added that in. I didn't write that originally, but I added that in just now because the DL is really killing y'all, Lord. It can show up as violence, arrogance. It can show up as a man who had the world cheering for him, but never learned how to sit still with himself. And once you crash out, all the cashing in from the past can be erased. One scandal can erase endorsements. One arrest can erase reputation. One lawsuit can eat money for years. One violent moment can cost freedom. One bad night can turn a dream into a documentary. Chapter 9, sports betting made fans more aggressive. Another modern pressure is sports betting. Fans used to be mad because their team lost. Now some are mad because your performance affected their parlay. That changes the emotional temperature. An athlete can have thousands of strangers attacking him online because he dropped a pass, missed a tackle, fumbled, got hurt, or did not hit a statistic somebody gambled on. Imagine being 23 years old, injured, under pressure, possibly in pain, and strangers are calling you worthless because they lost on a $50 bet. That is not normal. That is not fandom. That is financial rage disguised as sports culture. And it adds another layer to the athlete's mental health burden. And the fact that many of people don't have the ability to leave social media when things are too hectic for them. They continue to read negativity over and over again, and it's insane. Like, it's cool to have internet access, but also have a reality in the social media, off of social media. Have a safe space in real life. Have things that you could do when you put your phone on airplane mode. Some books to read, some music to listen to. I have playlists for all kinds of moods for myself, and sometimes I even discover new music. If you have access to nature, take a walk sometimes in silence. If you can be in silence for at least 10 minutes, if you're someone who don't be in silence, you're going to see something different. You're going, and once you let your thoughts just think themselves, every thought you have, you don't need to pull at it, because your brain is a machine. It's all kinds of thoughts going on. Just let your brain roam. When you hear thoughts, remind yourself, it's just my brain. And from there, discover what you really need in life, because money is helpful. It's powerful. Industries and countries run off of it. But when you don't get in touch with yourself and your humanity, and you outsource it to all of these different things that all have expiration dates. Fans have expiration dates. There is no one who has all a fans that they had in the beginning in the end. Sometimes it switched to a different type of fan. Sometimes you lose all of them. Sometimes, just so you need to have something inside yourself that's with you for the rest of your life. And the chapter 10, the contract is not in I don't even know why that's missing, but oh well. The contract is not the cash. A $10 million contract is not $10 million in the athlete's pocket. Before anyone starts spending the headline number, they need to understand taxes come first. Agent fees come out. Some money may not be guaranteed. Bonuses may have conditions. Injuries can have everything. Bad behavior can void opportunities. Family pressure can drain accounts. Lawsuits can freeze or consume wealth. Child support and divorce can reshape finances. Bad investments can destroy years of income. And theft happens. Bad accounts happen. Fake business managers happen. Predatory friends happen. Put me on relatives happen. Contract confusion. Your name can be used up. Your likeness can be used up. Your intellectual property can be taken. And sometimes the athlete is not even the one being robbed. Sometimes the athlete is the one who benefits from another person signing away ownership, because that person did not read, did not ask questions, did not hire a lawyer, and did not understand the value of what they created. That is why I tell people, before you sign anything, get a lawyer. Before you create anything, understand ownership. Before you trust anyone with your future, verify everything. If you believe you have a future, start looking for lawyers before the moment comes. Do not wait until you are excited, pressured, rushed, or emotionally manipulated, because the worst time to learn contract law is after you already signed your blessing. And there's a pattern here. When people sign contracts, they don't send contracts to the people's house to sign. They always have them somewhere with alcohol, in front of people, all kind of other people pressuring them and talking as if the contract already signed. It's a form of manipulation. And Chapter 11, older players are not always mentors. People assume older players automatically mentor younger players. That would be beautiful if it was always true, but age does not equal wisdom. Especially if you came from a struggling family. Look at your family. If age equal wisdom, y'all wouldn't be struggling. I get the reasoning behind struggling, and I'm not minimizing that, but it's too many people that make it out of the same situation that a lot of us are in. For the people who have people that made it out of the situations that we're in, and people who still in the situation like to minimize, oh, a man gave it to them, or this, and this. Like, oh, but experience does not always become maturity. Some former players become great mentors. They warn young athletes. They teach them about money, health, discipline, marriage, business, and life after the game. But some older players are still immature. Some are still chasing attention, emotionally reckless, still trying to be the loudest person in the room. Some are still operating from the same ignorance they had when they were young, just with gray hair and a podcast microphone. Ignorance does not blossom into intelligence just because time passed. That's why mistaking age for maturity and mistaking youth for immaturity is the biggest downfall that all generations continue to repeat. Because when you look at younger people these days, immediately giving them negative personality traits, oh, these young people, oh, this generation, baby, it's people my age that's worse off than these kids. I always compliment the younger people who have manners, who have business acumen, who financially literate, who responsible, who actually ask questions, because it's people my age that never did any of that. It's people, you can be a failure at any age and you could be a success at any age. Stop modeling your life off of after other people. Unless you and that person have lifestyle twins where they live the exact same life you live, then don't compare, because it's things that we don't know. If I popped up as a millionaire tomorrow, y'all don't know how I got there. I can tell y'all anything. And that's the thing about the internet now. People are lying. Like, back to the story. Who kept their money? Who protected their family? Who built businesses? Who avoided scandals? Who transitioned well? Who tells the truth without trying to sell an image? Who can teach you how to survive after the jersey comes off? That is the mentor, not just the loudest retired player, not just the celebrity, not just the person with old highlights. The mentor is the person whose life after the game still has structure. And chapter 12, there are other ways to win sports. It's funny when I compress this and it start mixing my slides up. But here is the part people do not talk about enough. You can still work in football, still be around fame, still make money, and not destroy your body. Everyone does not have to be the product on the field. Some people can become sports agents, contract attorneys, financial advisors for athletes, sports psychologists, physical therapists, athletic trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, broadcasters, analysts, sports journalists, content creators, marketing executives, brand managers, team operation staff, scouts, player development directors, NIL consultants, sports tech entrepreneurs, league compliance specialists. Some of these people can build more long-term wealth than players who took all the hits, and some still get fame. Look at the people around sports media. Look at agents, commentators, team executives, owners, people who never ran through a linebacker but still make money from the sport. The athlete is visible, but visibility is not always ownership. Sometimes the person with the most fame has the least control. That is why the backup plan should not be viewed as failure. The backup plan may actually be the better plan. I always say, instead of having goals to live in a luxury apartment, have goals to be the owner of the luxury apartment that other people rent. Because we look at the people with the luxurious things, but the real person making the money are the people who supply it. Because luxury is an addiction. When it comes to sports, sports is really the original stand culture. So you can make money so many different ways with being related to the NFL, with having knowledge without damaging your body, especially if you don't make it. Because when people put their whole life on it, like I know someone that I saw as a kid, and now they're a adult, or they look like an adult, they don't act like one, and their whole life was made for football. And once they got in college and started using drugs and then became the baby daddy of the year, spreading seeds everywhere, they don't even work because that's all they knew. And they barely, so don't be that person. And they signed over their intellectual property for something that could have made them millions to an active NFL player because that's their brother, even though the dude don't even acknowledge him. He even did interviews of the intellectual property as if he created it, not acknowledging the dude. And he didn't even pay him the contract. Anyways. 13, peace when the dream changes. The saddest thing is not failing to make the NFL. The saddest thing is believing life is over because you did not make the NFL. Some peak in high school, peak in college. Some get drafted and dropped. Some make a roster and get injured. Some have one good season. Others get a second contract. Some become legends, but everyone has to become a person after the game. And that is where peace comes in. If dreams change, you are still alive. If the league does not call, you still have value. If the injury ends the career, your mind still matters. If the scouts stop watching, your character still counts. If the crowd stop cheering, your life still needs direction. Do not make one path your entire identity. Have a backup plan, have a backup skill, have a backup income stream, a backup version of yourself that you still respect, because peace is not only getting what you wanted, peace is knowing you are still whole if you want it does not happen. The real message to young athletes, chapter 14. To every young athlete watching this, train for the dream, but prepare for reality. Lift weights, but also lift your reading level. Run drills, but also run your credit report. Learn the playbook, but also learn taxes. Watch film, but also watch your circle. Protect the ball, but also protect your name. Sign autographs, but do not sign contracts blindly. Love your family, but do not let guilt bankrupt you. Help people, but do not become the family ATM. Enjoy the money, but do not let the money outrun your maturity. Because when you are a product, the machine keeps you only while your use is high. Once your body slows down, the business keeps moving. The jersey changes, the fans move on. The team drafts younger legs. The media finds a new story, and you are left with whatever you built while everybody is watching. So build something real. Build your literacy, health, savings, credit, discipline, emotional stability. Build your relationship with peace. Build your life beyond the thing that made people clap. The powerful ending. Chapter 15. The NFL dream is not evil. Football can create an opportunity. It can pay families. It can build discipline. It can open doors that poverty tried to keep locked. But a dream without a plan can become a trap. A blessing without structure can become a burden. Fame without identity can become a prison. Money without literacy can become a countdown. And talent without life skills can turn a gifted child into a broken adult. So, yes, chase the dream, but do not chase it empty handed. Bring a lawyer, bring a financial plan, bring emotional discipline, bring backup skills, bring a circle that does not need your money to prove their love. But also, too, when building a circle, you have to have a strong individual mindset first, because when you build a circle without a strong individual mindset, you become reliant on that circle for functioning. You need to be able to function as a person. Like, prioritize alone time to where you can do it, and when you're around people it's optional. Do not become the person that needs people, that has to lean on people, because people die. Like, people die all kinds of ways. Some people die of old age, and we always assume everyone's gonna live to 70, but that's not the case. Especially in a texting and driving society, somebody could take out your circle because they was live streaming on TikTok. So you have to be able to rely on yourself. It gets ugly out here in the world. And unfortunately, a lot of adults still don't realize that. That's why they're still crying over things that are naturally adult problems. Don't be them, because they never win. They cry their whole life. They build rivers, but they don't build wealth. Because the goal is not just to make it, the goal is to survive making it. It's to keep what you earn. The goal is to become more than the product they sold. And the real win is not just hearing the crowd chant your name. The real win is still having peace when the stadium goes quiet. And this video was shorter, not short, but shorter. I appreciate everything. I actually read the comments today for the last few months, and I appreciate all the love. It was all positive comments. I still will not, like, don't count on me reading comments fast, because looking at, again, the analytics is very depressing. So y'all have a great day and stay tuned.